Level 1, the handshake. You're not a member yet. You're a prospect, which is the gang equivalent of an unpaid intern nobody trusts. Somebody vouched for you. A cousin, a neighborhood kid who's been in 3 years and thinks you're solid. That vouching matters. It's the only reason you're standing here at all. You're 16, maybe 17. The neighborhood you grew up in has exactly 2 career paths that pay fast, and you've watched enough people take the slow one to know how that ends. So here you are. They give you tasks first. Small ones. Hold this. Watch that corner. Say nothing to nobody about what you see. You do all of it. No complaints, no questions. This phase lasts anywhere from a few weeks to several months, depending on how the senior members feel about you. Most prospects wash out not because they're caught, because they talk. You don't talk. Level 2, the beating. This is what most people think of when they think of initiation. They're partly right. You're getting jumped in. That's the standard. 30 seconds, sometimes 60, sometimes longer depending on the set. 3 to 6 members. Fists only in most cases, though the rules vary by crew and nobody tells you the rules in advance. You stand there and take it. That's the test. Not whether you can fight back, whether you stay standing, whether you cry, whether you beg. You do none of those things. You take the hits and you stay on your feet until they stop. The whole thing lasts 40 seconds. It feels like considerably longer. Afterward, someone hands you a rag for your face and nobody speaks about it again. You're in. That simple. The pain is real. The belonging is also real. Both of those things are true at the same time. Level 3, the first job. They don't hand you anything serious yet. You're running product 3 blocks, maybe 4, corner to corner, a specific address at a specific time. You don't know what's in the package and you're not supposed to ask. You ask anyway, because you're still new enough to be that stupid. The guy who hands it to you just looks at you. You stop asking. The delivery takes 11 minutes. You do it 6 more times over the next 2 weeks. Nobody bothers you. Nobody stops you. You're a teenager walking through a neighborhood you've lived in your whole life. You're invisible. The work feels almost ordinary, which is the point. They're watching how you move, whether you panic, whether you're late, whether your story about where you were that afternoon sounds natural when you tell it. Everything is a test. You haven't passed yet. You've just stopped failing. Level 4, the arrest. It happens eventually to almost everyone at this level, not for anything serious. A stop on a corner, a search, a small amount of product you were holding as a favor for someone who disappeared the second the cruiser turned the block. You're 17. Juvenile court. They're not trying to lock you up yet. They're trying to flip you. The detective in the room is calm and reasonable and tells you that everyone talks eventually, that the people you're protecting aren't protecting you, that this is the moment where you decide what the next 20 years look like. He's not wrong. You know he's not wrong. You say nothing. You ask for a lawyer. Case gets pled down to a misdemeanor. You're out in 48 hours. Back on the block the same week. The fact that you stayed quiet gets noticed. The fact that you got caught also gets noticed. Those 2 things balance out. Barely. Level 5, the promotion. You're handling real volume now, not running corners, overseeing them. 3 guys report to you. You're 19. You make more in a week than your mother makes in a month, and you're aware of that every single day. The organization has rules you didn't know existed when you were prospect level. Debts collected on specific timelines, disputes resolved before they escalate, product quality maintained because the customers go somewhere else if it isn't. You're a mid-level logistics manager. Nobody calls it that. That's what it is. The money is good. The risk is higher. You know this because the guy who held your spot before you is doing 8 years in a state facility upstate. He was 22 when they took him. You tell yourself you're smarter. You probably aren't. Level 6, the rival situation. Something happens on the east side. A territory overlap, a debt dispute, a misunderstanding that became an insult that became something nobody can walk back. You're not in the room when the decision gets made, but you're expected to be available when the decision gets implemented. That's your job now. Available. You're there when it happens. You don't pull the trigger. You're close enough that the sound is permanent in a way you don't realize yet. Nobody is killed. One person ends up in a hospital for 3 weeks. He survives. The block goes quiet afterward. Tension like weather. You stop sleeping deeply. You start checking your mirrors differently when you drive. The weight of what you saw doesn't leave. You tell yourself it will. It doesn't. Level 7. The federal attention. Local police is one thing. Federal is different in ways that matter. A wire has been running on a phone connected to someone 3 levels above you for 11 months. You didn't know that phone existed. Most people didn't. The way federal investigations work, they build from the outside in. The low-level arrests come first, not because those people are the target, but because pressure on the bottom creates cooperation that reaches the top. You're not the bottom anymore. You're the middle, which means you're exactly the pressure point they need. 2 agents visit your mother's apartment on a Tuesday morning. They're polite. They leave a card. They say they just want to talk. Your mother calls you crying. You don't call them back. Your lawyer tells you not to. The card sits on her kitchen table for weeks, like something radioactive. Level 8. The indictment. Your name is on it along with 14 others. RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Federal prosecutors use RICO because it lets them charge you for the organization's conduct, not just your own. Everything you did, everything anyone connected to you did, gets woven into a single case. Your lawyer is expensive and honest enough to tell you the evidence is substantial. Recorded calls, surveillance footage, 2 cooperating witnesses who were in rooms with you on specific dates the prosecution can document. The offer is 12 years. Reject it and face 35 to life. You're 23 years old doing math about what age you'll be when you walk out. Every number lands wrong. You take the 12. Level 9. The sentence. The courtroom is smaller than you expected. The judge is 60 years old and has seen this exact case 100 times. That's not resentment in his face. It's something closer to exhaustion. He reads through the charges. You stand and say yes when asked if you understand. He sentences you to 12 years federal, no parole. Your mother is behind you in the gallery. You don't turn around. You already know what her face looks like. Transfer comes 3 weeks later. A federal facility 600 miles from the neighborhood you grew up in. The bus ride is 9 hours. Shackled at the wrists and ankles, watching highway exits pass through scratched plexiglass. You were 16 when someone first vouched for you. You're 23 now. You were supposed to be untouchable. Nobody is. Nobody ever is.